want to make any distinction between writers we'd seen in earlier groups and writers we'd seen in later groups, because we just didn't think it was fair. A little bit of an update. Thank you for all your submissions. I haven't been able to get back to every single one of you, but I promise you I have read every single script. And recently, a couple of months ago, I had an email from Celia de Wolf, who is a huge BBC, does a whole load of presenting, but producing for the BBC, and asking for me to recommend a writer to her, which I did. And that came from your submissions. So everything is stored up for future passing on of contacts and just getting you involved if we can. And people are starting to come to us now, so that's just like a bit of really just an update and positive news. What I decided, and Camilla and I decided, was we didn't want to just focus on one star writer. That was number one. And then number two, we really want something that is the voice of young people. And that's what's kind of led us on to we decided that we actually wanted, after deciding that we wanted to give you free reign, we decided actually we needed more coherence. We do need a proper sort of pitch to give you, which is what I'm here to tell you today. We want to give you a proper brief and take about maybe 5 or 6 short stories. So we're working with several writers, and so I'm gonna, without any further ado, I'm going to tell you what the brief is. So rather than warbling, because we've got half an hour, so it's good discipline. We want authentic lived experiences about now, and we want to base them in your locations. So we want to take a short 15-minute piece from Derby, London, Oxford, Belfast, Melbourne, Romney. And we want something about your lives now, how you're affected by the current environment, which doesn't mean that it has to be about COVID, and we certainly don't want COVID mentioned overtly, but we do want to enter into the worlds of young, I don't want that to sound patronizing, young people now. So want you to, the piece is going to be, in terms of, it's going to be set over 24 hours. So structural limitations, because we want to have the option of being able to pick some short stories, dramatized, so they are drama, short stories, short pieces that stand alone, so they can be used as short 15-minute podcasts. And we also want the option to be able to do a version where, we see what we've got in terms of being able to do a version where we're splicing the pieces together, moving around to different locations over a 24-hour period. Again, we haven't decided because we want to wait and see on what your submissions are doing. So we want a story. We want strong narrative storytelling. We want a change to happen over that 24 hours. It could be tiny, but there has to be a change happening. We want strong relationships, and I'd advise no more than 2 main characters. You could have 3, but that would be the absolute max. You could have 2 main characters and waiter. I'm just thinking there aren't many waiters happening at the moment, but well, there are some. But you could have two main characters and an incidental character, but it has to be absolutely crystal clear in terms of your narrative storytelling, in terms of audio. If they're short stories, there can't be, you have to be able to dive in straight away, and there can't be any confusion about the situation or who the characters are or what their relationship to each other is. And if you want to make some mystery about what their relationship to each other is, then you have to make it really clear that it's a mystery. It has to be a signposted, clearly signposted mystery. Also, in terms of form, it's not sci-fi. This is what it's not. It's not sci-fi. It's not fantasy. It's not historical drama. It's for sake of for the sake of a better terminology, it's realism. Yeah. It's not. It has to be firmly rooted in here and now, in location, modern characters, using, it doesn't have to be yourself, but using, and please don't tell me if it is, because I don't want to know. I just want writing that really speaks about your lives now. That's mainly what I'm looking for. That is what I'm looking for, not mainly what I'm looking for. So that is the basic brief. Do you have any questions about the brief before I move on to the next point?
I know you said it's not sci-fi, obviously, but are you looking for it to be told linearly over the 24 hours, or could it be told partly in flashback to earlier in the day? Or
good question. I think that's going to become confusing. I think I would leave all unless your trick is so fantastic in that it's so, and I'm not saying it can't be, Liz, unless your trick is so fantastic and so clear and so much an integral part of the storytelling, I would probably say not. However, if you are sold on it, write it, because it's because there's going to be a process in the writing. I'm not sending you away with a brief whereby you're not going to have a chance to rewrite. So let's hold that thought, because I think there's more room to discuss it. It's a really good question. Thank you. Just hold that thought. I'm going to come back to it. Anyone else got any other questions?
Things like the best way I can put it, like voices in your head, or like hallucination type dialogues with the self, or things like that.
No, I don't want those either. I'm getting really like, no, good question. I don't. I want because I want to stick to stories from the same style. And I think that the limitations, Charis, I'll be with you in a second. I think that the limitations are going to help, because I think that the piece somehow needs a tone, even if we do separate it out into different stories. I'd like to at least start with. But having said that, just like to Liz, defy me. If you need to, defy me, because that, Simon's laughing, because that's what creativity is. So I'm going to go bang, 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 bang. I want this, 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 and this. And then someone's going to send me something and I'm going to go, oh, that's not that, that, and that, but I love it. So hold that thought too, because you're going to have a chance to get together in your groups, as well as in your groups with me, once you've written your first draft, to workshop it. Yeah. So, but I don't, I would like, in general, to get away from interior monologues. Yeah, I want relationships between two characters so that external events are driving a story forward. Because I think that in most cases, the interior monologues, they're easy, inverted commas, to dash out as a writer, but they are harder in terms of narrative, and they often can become an excuse for lack of good narrative. And of course, I'm making a huge sweeping statement, and it's just in order to, I'm trying to narrow down possibilities, that's why. But yeah, so thanks, Marta. Any other questions before we move on? Laura? Oh,
Just keep forgetting to do that. When you say set over 24 hours, is that the 5 or 6 pieces as a whole, or each monologue, or a duologue? Sorry.
All of it. So each monologue, same 24 hours.
Right.
Same 24 hours.
Great.
We're going to decide later. I was just thinking tonight, what time does that 24 hours start? But let's leave that to, I think we should say 12, from 12 till 12. Yeah.
Which 12?
12.
I don't know. Well, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. because then you can start with any time in between, and I'm not I'm giving you some creative freedom within a limited structure. Yeah, because then you can play around with the stories within that time. Yeah,
great, thank you.
Solius.
How fragmented should the stories be, and can there be any gems? For example, should the whole story happen in one single location with no interruptions to time, or can we have like 5 minutes at home, 5 minutes in supermarket, 5 minutes in the hospital?
Yeah, so it's realism as opposed to naturalism. So it's not, and that's not quite what you're saying. Within that 24-hour time period, jump. You don't have time in 15 minutes to not jump to the salient moments. Yeah, because it's really condensed. So it's an exercise in short form storytelling, dramatic short form storytelling. Yeah, within the 24 hours, yeah, have as many gaps, jump location, but I still want it rooted in your location, because Podium, I just want Podium to have an identity, that we've been to these different locations for the workshops. We've had, albeit a tiny glimpse into your lives. We've glimpsed what you've chosen to tell us about your lives. So we have no idea about your lives, but we want more. We want that. That's why I think we want the pieces really firmly rooted in location. And in realism, actually, to hear your voices. I know that sounds cliched, but yeah. So rather than a sci-fi piece, rather than a futuristic piece, rather than a historical drama, rather than a, I don't know, yeah, historical drama, I'm just thinking of costume drama, just here and now, young people, here and now, what's going on? That's what we're interested in. What's going on differently in different locations? What are the stories we haven't heard? And it has to be something that is deeply honest, because otherwise we're not interested. It has to be something that drives you. It has to come from you somewhere. Yeah, and that's going to be your task as a writer. Yeah. Any other questions on that? Romy?
Sorry, I'll just take my hand down as well. Do the stories need to interlink together? So like somehow these individual people know each other? So like,
No, because it'd be too complicated, but it's a really good question, and it's something that I've thought about myself. But they're going to interlink by the fact that they take place over 24 hours. Because they are, that's why I'm so keen to keep the tone, and in a way it relates back to Marta's question. That's why I'm so keen to not have a world of interior monologues. That's why I'm so keen to have realism, so that you can jump between, and okay, you've got different characters, different accents and different locations, but it's still the same 24 hours. Yeah. Any other questions before I move on to the next, Suze?
Me, do you have a specific 24 hours that you want it to have? Like, do you have like, is it May 14th? Is it June 30th? Like, do you know a date?
No, but I think that would be interesting for you in your groups and in your own writing to come up with.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then it would be interesting to see what people have done. I was originally going to, Camilla stopped me putting it, rightly so, they're putting it on the 23rd of March. She stopped me doing that, something like that, and for absolutely good reasoning. But no, I think maybe we should think about that in the group discussions, and then all get together to then take it from there. I don't want to label the date. I don't want to label the specific date. I think it would be a good idea for you to label the date in your head. Maybe it depends on how you work as a writer. If that doesn't work for you as a writer, don't do it. It's more about it's a little bit of, and I'm speaking in cliches, but it's a little bit of a state of the nation piece. I think that I'm looking for a little bit of a state of the nation piece, and I haven't got as detailed as the actual date. Okay, anyone else burning to say something, or should I move on to the next bit? No, I can't. I'm not sure how many people I can see on.
A tiny quick question.
Oh yes, Simon.
Sorry. Which is, how ambitious are we allowed to be with like audio effects?
Well, consider it's a realistic piece.
Yep. So realistic sounds. Cool.
I'm not. Do you know what? Even though this is audio,
you still want it to be narrative. That
I want narrative.
Yeah.
I actually want narrative. I shouldn't be saying it. Shoot me dead. But it's the narrative, and it's the integrity of the relationships and the people that I think is paramount. But do you think it is audio? But yeah. So for example, Love, Sex, Money, the Emile Zola that is being broadcast on Radio 4 at the moment, that has updated Emile Zola's books into themes. It's taken themes, it hasn't taken each individual book, and it's obviously all pulled together by the Glenda Jackson mad woman character, who is the all overarching narrator, and that's still, I don't know, it has I wouldn't say it's overly inventive in sound effects, but it certainly has, it's certainly not old-fashioned. And it is a bit of a state of the nation piece in a way. If you stretch it, it is a comment. Okay, it's historical, but they've updated it to the now. So let's put on hold the sound effects to later, because we can add it in later, Simon. I think, not that it's an afterthought, but yeah. Yeah, it's so great to see you all in one place. Just reading Camilla's message. So let me move on, because it's not your only opportunity to talk about the pieces. How I want to structure it in terms of form as I turn over all my pieces of paper is I would like number 2, so go away, write your piece, 2.5 weeks. Where sort of roughly Camilla and I are going to get back to you with dates. 2.5 piece, 2.5 week, I suppose, piece gap in order to come up with your idea. You're not going to submit it. It doesn't need to be finished. We're going to organize a workshops into 2-hour group, online group workshop sessions for you to workshop your pieces together. Oh, sorry, Romy, I know, in the middle of the night in Melbourne. So, and we're going to extract what we have. And we're going to very much work on it as a group. And it's not, okay, yeah, there might be some pieces chosen at the end, but as I said before, we're being approached by people. This isn't going to be the only opportunity you get. This is just one of them. So you're going to have a 2-hour workshop and story sharing session in the groups you were in. Yeah. And so that's number 2. And then, so that's going to be in roughly around 2.5 weeks time. 2-hour session. Hopefully we'll find a time when your groups can make it. And then after that session, again, maybe not sure about the time limit, we've got to get together the time structure. I want to have another one of these whole group sessions, but I want to run it as a story structure session where we'll be looking, and I'm not going to tell you the text, I'm trying not to tell you the text, we'll be looking at one particular text, which you all have all read it beforehand, it is a play, not was originally a play, it is a theatre play, but it's set over 24 hours, and it has exactly what I'm asking you to do in terms of small structure, small stories, in this case one location, but it will really tell you about moments of change and about how to structure your piece so that it's effective. And then you're going to go away and rewrite your piece. And then if you want to, in between times, you can get together in your groups. I'd encourage you to get together in your groups. And then, so you've got your brief tonight, you've got your 2.5 weeks to go away and come up with your story. Write it out in full, write out your full 15 minutes, even if it's not the one you end up with, but have it there. And then you're going to have a story sharing session, 2-hour workshop in your group with me helping you. And then there's going to be a big story structure session looking at a particular text. And then you've got a chance again, you've got another couple of weeks to go away and rewrite. Yeah, and then we can like thrash out questions like Simon's about audio, and Sue's about particular date. Maybe we don't know. Maybe a date isn't specified because maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe your date as an individual writer for those individual stories is slightly different, but the audience won't necessarily know. It might not actually interfere with the storytelling, because we're certainly not going to introduce the pieces setting them on a particular date. So yeah, is that clear to everyone? Yeah, so this was a briefing session. It's recorded for those of you who can't make it. Next session is going to be in your little groups we're going to see if we can coordinate 2-hour story sharing session. I can finally say that, story sharing without stumbling. And 3 big story structure session using the same script. Yeah. And then 4 going away, rewriting and submitting. Yeah, does that, yeah, I think, because I think that says everything I need to say, really. What time is it? Oh my God, it's 31.
I'm really impressed. Well done, Cordelia. And thanks for the thumbs up that various people are putting on their screens. I'm taking it that that means it's all clear. Well done.
Brilliant.
Great. Well, we'll get back to you with the exact dates when we've worked them out. And hopefully everyone will be able to make them. And I'm sure we can have some flexibility if people, I guess, Cordelia, if people can't make their location date, they could perhaps tag on to another
location.
No.
Yes, of course I can. Yeah, I'm just joking. Of course.
We'll hopefully make it work for all of you.
If you don't like your group, you can just tag on. I'm joking.
Virtually move to Oxford.
Marta's going. But yeah, if it, so it's so lovely to see you all, to see the people that we've seen relatively recently, as well as seeing the people that we haven't seen for nearly a year. It's nearly a year.
Yeah.
So Belfast group, you haven't been forgotten. So thank you all for taking the time tonight. And yeah, we will, as Camilla said, be in contact with you for the next workshop groups. Okay.